to Can-Do Conversations. I am Cheryl Williams, the Can-Do Mom.
I'm CJ Williams, the Can-Do Dad. Thank you for being here.
Welcome. We are excited to have you here for another conversation.
Yeah, and we're back.
Yep.
Just for you.
Yep. And so if you're new to Can-Do Conversations, basically what we do is we pick a topic.
Yes, and communicate.
We have a conversation about it. And normally we bring the conversation to us and what's going on in our life. And so that way we're talking from firsthand experience. Our experiences. And then we want you to join in the conversation and take away what you can and continue the conversation after.
Yes.
And that's really what
that means a lot there.
I mean, because how many times have you listened to something or watched something or gone to an event or become a part of a coaching program or something, and you're being talked at, you're being spoken to, you're being given directive, but you don't know how to bring that back to you.
Or it comes in one ear and go out the other.
That's right.
Okay, I listened to something or somebody talked at me. And then after a while, you really start even zoning that out because of so much information.
And so we always, bring it back to it's talk. We're having that conversation right now. We're talking about it. But then you got to put together your own plan on what you're going to do with that. And then you've got to take consistent action on that. And that's
and that means consistent.
Yep.
Constant. Don't stop and start. Stop, start, stop, start.
And I think that flows perfectly into what we're going to be talking about today in today's conversation.
It does.
Which is, what standards do you hold for yourself and how are you hitting those benchmarks continually on a daily basis?
That you have for yourself, not for somebody else. Everything you have for yourself.
Yep. And even, with a spouse or a significant other, with your children, I mean, you can want someone to do something. You can inspire someone to do something. Yeah. You can kind of coax someone and drag them along.
Come on.
And yet that is only going to get the result for a certain amount of time, because at a certain point, they have to pick it up and say, you know what, I'm doing this. These are my standards. I'm doing this for myself. And so you can talk to someone, but you can also work on just doing what you know you need to do. Be the example, lead, and then let the people that are going to follow instead of talking
the other
at
way.
them.
Right. And what happens when you pull somebody along by their coat hairs? You pick, was it coat hairs? Or
What does that even mean?
Talls.
Hairs?
Yes. What does that mean?
I don't know, but that's...
Yes.
I think that's how the saying goes.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's coattails.
Coattails. That's what I was about to say. Mix it up. Yes.
I'm like, wait a second. I got a visual. Coat hair. It's coattails.
You drag them along, and they're going to come along with you, and then they're going to drop off real fast because they didn't want to do it to begin with. They were doing it as support. But how long does support last?
And a lot of times, it's not even doing it from support. They're doing it out of obligation because they feel like they have to, right?
And it's still going to drop off.
Yeah, so we don't want to do things out of obligation. And sometimes that is a good way of getting things moving, but a lot of times it backfires because then it's like, look, you're doing this, you're not sticking with it. You had me do this, you're not over here.
And there's
so it's like a
back
lot
and forth, back and forth.
So we are going to work on taking ownership of ourselves, being the example, leading by example, not talking at it and saying, you need to do this and you need to do that. Let's look inward. Let's bring that back.
Satisfying yourself.
Let's bring it back to ourselves. And what standards are we holding? I mean, can you imagine what the world would look like and feel like and be like if everybody held up the mirror to themselves and said, okay, am I being the best version of myself today? Am I holding my standards? Do I even know what standards I do want to hold or I am holding?
Or you're just living? Or
what expectations I have for myself and things that I need to meet on a daily basis to be the best version of myself.
Yeah, and they don't have to be listed out like I like to talk about, list, write it down. I need to do 10 different things and it's going to be this, 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 this. It's for yourself what you want every day. That that has to be done already.
And really, it becomes a part of who you are. We talk about that a lot, like, who are you? And who do you need to become to get what you want, right? And so when I'm getting up every day and I'm saying, okay, these are the things that I need to do today, or these are the things I am doing today, because that's what I said I was going to do. That's a standard that I set for myself. And so I need to reach that because that's my standard. That's me being the best version of myself. So then I can give the best version to those around me. It also creates a different energy and vibration going on in the house and with the other relationships and with those that are around and who I connect with or who I don't, and just all around, it shifts and changes everything. Because if I get up and I know that I'm doing what I need to be doing, and at the end of the day, I can say, you know what? I did everything I was supposed to do today. Or you know what? I didn't do these things today. But I could acknowledge that, but I can also learn from it. Okay, I said I was going to do this, and today I came close, but I didn't get there. Okay,
Right.
What am I going to do tomorrow to change that? Getting upset at myself, getting angry with myself, having that bad energy or that negative attitude, or just that, it doesn't help the situation. And sometimes we have to catch ourselves in that and be like, okay, what are we doing now to change that, to get the result, to hold the standard, to get to where we said we want to go?
Well, you feel the energy from when you do all the things you want to do for yourself because you're satisfied with yourself, you're happy for yourself, and then it makes everybody else around you want to do better. And that's even happened for me. I want to always do better because she's sticking to what she needs to do for herself. So it makes me want to stick to my guidelines that I have for myself. So it's a good thing.
And it's not robotic though either. There's some days you just don't feel like fucking doing it.
No.
It's like, I just don't feel like doing this today.
No.
But guess what? We don't do what we feel like. We hold our standards and do what we said we were going to do. Now, things come up. Maybe you get sick. Maybe the kids need something. Maybe, stuff comes up. Maybe you have no electricity. Maybe you have no running water. Like, things happen, right? And so you
But
have
that's
to
not
deal.
kicking yourself
No,
either.
You're dealing with what emerges at that point, right? It's like, you know what? If you were supposed to go somewhere, like a few days ago, we had an ice storm that came through. We weren't going anywhere, right? And
No.
so if we're not going to make it to the gym today, does that mean I'm not going to work out at all? It's like, no. What
No.
can I do?
Yes, you have your own stuff here.
How can I do this? How can I still hold that standard? Because old me would have been like, well, can't go to the gym. Check that off the list for today,
Yes.
right? It's like, no. What can we do? How can we still get in those things that we said we were going to do? Because we're holding our standards. We're living
Yes.
up to what we said we were going to do.
And that makes me think about the world. If you held yourself just a little above where you are now, where would we be right now? Everything would be a lot better. People, have goals that they want to do. They thrive for more, but holding yourself accountable makes that achievable, and the energy around you will just go out to the universe.
And it is a lot of energy, right? We are energy beings. We live in a world full of energy. And that's why you can be in a certain situation and feel a certain way, right? Because there's an energy about that. You have that feeling inside, or the hair stands up on the back of your neck.
By talking about that, I was already getting the chills thinking about it.
Right. And so those are things, you can get one of those, I don't know what they're called, but those things that like read energy is like, yeah, you put it in a light socket, there's energy. If you put it next to you, there's energy too, right? We are all energy. And so if we are on a vibrational energy of this is not working, this is not good, nothing don't work, nothing don't go, nothing I can do about it, being the victim, right? We're all gonna feel that. But if we say, you know what? No. These are the things I can do. These are the things I can control. These are the things I said I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do today. And even those days that you don't get there, you know that you've worked as close as you can and done everything you can, that, okay, tomorrow's a brand new day. And that's what's beautiful
It is.
about life, is it doesn't matter what happened yesterday or last week or last month or last year or the last decade. It doesn't matter what happened the last second. We're only here, right now. And that's why there's so many challenges too. It's like there's so much depression because people are living in the past. There's so much anxiety because people are worried about the future. How about we just focus on what's here, right now that we can actually do something with? I can't worry about what happened in the past, and I sure as heck don't know what the heck's going to happen in the future, but I can work on right here, right now. How am I doing? Am I holding myself to a higher standard? Am I setting myself up to succeed? Am I hitting those targets? Do I have a baseline of standard? This is what I'm going to reach each and every day. And when I have that, then I can work towards it. And I can control those things. I can control the thoughts that are in my mind. And if the thoughts in my mind aren't serving me, then I need to fix that. I need to work on that. I need to change that. And those are things that I can do, just like those are things that you can do.
When you're holding yourself at a higher vibration, all the negativity around the world that is going on, the news and all the negativity doesn't even affect. It just bounces off and doesn't affect you on taking care of yourself as a whole.
And the other thing is like, I cannot control those things.
No.
I can't, right? And where we live right now, we don't have a lot of access to those things anyway. So
Nope.
the only time I'm seeing that or experiencing that is when I'm, looking online for something. And we don't have TV that has any type
Has all
of
the
channels
stations and everything.
So it's like we don't even have radios.
We listen to music all day.
It's just nice, calm, peaceful music, right?
Yes, it's playing right now.
And maybe we do have some dance parties every once in a while. We turn it up, and
Yes,
again,
and-
that's all.
yes.
That's fine. And yet, it just goes to show that when we're allowing things to come into our life, then we're opening ourselves up and exposing ourselves to those things. If we aren't allowing those things, or we're not looking at that and going down that rabbit hole and seeing I can work on me more. I can be focused on me and my family and what I can do and
Yes.
how I can help the community and what I can do, with my spouse or with my children or with my family, or, those things I can actually control. And that's why it brings back today, the standards. What are the standards that we hold for ourselves? And so, on a daily basis, some of the standards that we hold for ourselves is, we had looked at, we work from home, and yes, we do have, a lot of acreage and things like that, but we're not out there every day walking around at that.
No.
And so,
When it's nice out, we are, but
based
not on
the
all the acreage.
trajectory, it was like we're not getting enough steps, and we are able bodies. We should be moving. We should be grooving. We should be,
Yes.
out there doing more. So that's one of the standards we set for ourselves. Like each and every day, we have to get to 10,000 steps because, from here to the kitchen, and the kitchen to the bathroom, and the living room to the office, and the office to the here. It's not,
Yes.
it's not as many steps.
No.
Yeah, if we go to the store, or we go over here, we go for a walk, we're getting some of those things in, right? And yet, if my standard that I'm holding for myself is each and every day I'm getting 10,000 steps, well, if when I'm ready to go to bed, I don't have those in, guess what I'm doing? I'm getting the rest of those in. But I'm also, the next day, going to be more aware that, there's been a pattern here that I haven't been
Yes.
getting what I said I wanted to get until late in the day. So what can I do at the beginning of the day or throughout the day to work on that?
Yes, and also thinking about it and knowing, just say with the steps of how many you have ahead of time, instead of going, it's almost time for bed, and let me look and see how many steps. Just like me yesterday, you're like, how many steps do you need? I was like, 5,000.
Like, well, you better get stepping then, because you got.
I think you needed like 2,500 or something.
And so
hey, get them done.
You got to do what you got to do, right? The same thing. Another standard that I hold for myself is I'm going to read each and every day. Some days I read a lot more than others. It just depends. Some days I read at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, or throughout the. It depends on the day, but I do have a standard that I'm reading at least 10 pages a day, right? And that's not just speed reading through it and how fast can I get there. I'm absorbing. I'm actually actualizing the information, and so I'm reading things that are helping me hold my standard, that are helping me with new skills or new thoughts or new ideas or new ways of doing things. And so I'm challenging myself in that way.
I've been challenging myself because it hasn't been staying in my head. I've been retaining everything I was reading. So what I did is I had Jocko's book, and I started, number one, I enjoyed the story more and what he was teaching, but slowing down. So I was slowing down. I knew what challenge I had because I didn't want it to happen to this book. And I had to flip it and change it and say, slow the hell down. Don't read just to be reading it. And it helped me a lot.
Yeah, because, I think that's a great point you just brought up. Is that you could be going through the motions, and that's not what standards are.
No.
Standards aren't just checking the box and saying, I did that, and I did that, and I did that.
I had my water, I did this. No.
Did you really do it? Like,
yes,
on
did
a
you
level,
understand everything?
Like, did you go through it and get the most out of it that you can?
Yes.
And I think that's another standard that we hold for ourselves.
Yes.
Is like, we have these things that we are setting as standards, but one of the standards is we're not just going through the motions doing them.
Yes. And what helped also is we were reading and during our walking. So, number one, you're not running into things. We're really good at it now of maneuvering and reading at the same time. And that also helped me slow down so I can do what I needed to do.
And for me, the reason I was like, you know what, instead of sitting and reading, how about we, get up and read? It was multifold. It was one, because we can get more steps in.
Yes.
Two, I think we can focus in more on what we're doing. And three, sometimes I notice, because we get up first thing, early in the morning and start reading, I would be in that place. If I got up, and immediately got to reading, sometimes I wouldn't be like fully awake. And so I would notice I was nodding off.
Right,
or I
when
was
you're
dozing
laying in your
off a little
comfy
bit.
chair.
Like I'm in my chair, I'm sitting there reading, I'm like, oh. And I'm like, okay,
Yes.
I'm not getting what I need to be getting out of this. So challenge, right? Okay,
Yep.
what's the challenge? How do we solve this? Well, if I'm up walking and I'm reading, I'm taking care of several things at once.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I'm getting more out of
Yes.
the books that I'm reading and the words on the page, and I'm able to internalize that and use that more than just sitting and saying, I'm reading 10 pages, or I'm going to read for 30 minutes, and the 30 minutes comes and 30 minutes goes, or the 10 pages come and 10 pages go, and it's like, well, what did I just read?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, well, I check. Let's go. It's like,
go.
that's not the point.
Right. What also with me on our list is when we get our workouts in. I have challenges with my breathing sometimes. I'm not feeling great. So I usually need more breaks, to change the subject from reading to working out.
Yeah.
I would take a little longer break than we need because everything is timed. You do this, you rest for a minute, 60, whatever seconds.
Some of them were not even resting at all.
Resting,
well,
and
15 seconds.
15 seconds,
Yeah.
you go right into it. And that 15 seconds, by having those timers, I needed more time. So by doing that more often, now I'm taking less breaks and just toughing through it.
Right.
Maybe I slow down in the workout
Yes.
and take my breath and chill for a moment and keep going. So when we get back doing more of our workouts, I'm looking forward to pushing myself even more so I don't have that, that I need that rest so I can get my breath.
And one of the things along those lines too is like, workouts you should be pushing yourself to where your
More.
limit is and pushing a little bit past that and then gauging, am I growing in this? Am I able to
Yes.
do more today than I did yesterday? And so that's one of the things I do like about the AMRAPs, which is as many reps as possible during a certain amount of time, because maybe, the workout it's 60 seconds for one workout, one particular thing that we're doing, and then we go on to the next, and we go on to the next, and we have 5 different ones, and we do it for, 5 or 6 times through, right? To get your 25, 30, sometimes it's 45 minutes, depending on what all's going on. But what I do like about that is you have that, it's like, okay, are you going to do a 45 on and 15 off? Or, you know what, today, instead of saying I'm not going to work out at all, you're not feeling great, or instead of just going through the motions, can you do 30 on and 30 off? And
Yes,
still keep that
change it up.
moving, so that way you are pushing yourself, and
Yes.
yet you're not doing nothing. And you're not then slowing down and saying, well, I need a 5-minute break. Well, 5-minute break
No,
out of
then
the
you
whole
cool
thing,
down.
it's like
You cool yourself down. That's
defeating
way
the
too
purpose.
long.
So getting to know yourself and us getting to know ourselves more is like, okay, today
Right.
maybe I'm not, firing on all cylinders. I'm not 100%. Okay, but am I making an excuse and not doing anything? Or am I going to
Yes.
say, you know what, I'm going to push myself to where my limit is today and push past that a little bit, right?
Yep.
And then be okay with, hey, I'm showing up. I'm doing the best I can do today for where I'm at. I'm holding the standard that I've set for myself. I'm getting through this, and I'm going to do the best that I can in what I'm doing. But some days you have
You're
off
not-
days, right?
you
We
are.
have off days. We're
Yes.
not freaking robots over here, just like
No,
dunk, dunk,
no.
dunk, 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 dunk.
No.
It's like we have days that we're cranky, and that we're grumpy, and that
Or
we're
sore,
irritable,
and-
or that
yeah,
we're sore,
and-
or that
yeah.
we complain, or that the vibration between us.
Make sure we don't complain. I mean, a complaint from us is saying something once.
Right.
But we're not just complaining
It
to
depe- it
complain.
depends. Sometimes
Because
you
we
can
teach our son, don't complain if you're sore.
Right,
Go
do something
stretch.
about it. I'm like, have you stretched? Okay.
He's been lifting at school,
Yeah.
so
Go drink
he's
some
walking
water.
around, I'm like, I don't want to hear that.
Go
If
stretch.
Go stretch.
Go stretch.
That's it.
Or, you know what? I ask him, what made you sore? And he's like, oh, those squats. Go do some more squats.
Yes.
The thing that made you sore is the thing that's going to help you be less sore. So go do more of that. Even though it feels counterintuitive.
Yes.
And how do I know this? Because I've told myself this many a times, right? If my arms are sore, then I need to lift more
Yes.
to get past the sore. If my legs and my thighs and my butt sore, well, guess
Yes.
what? I need to do more of those things that made me sore.
Yes. And
so-
stretch the hell out.
Right, you gotta do all those
Stretch
things.
it out.
And so, but there are some days that you're just not, you're just not moving and grooving. You're kind of in a funk. Maybe there's
But
energy.
be proud of yourself that you
Yeah.
did step up to the plate and get going.
And one thing I've noticed too is this time of year, I mean, we're in February now, right? But in a lot of places around the country, especially, we're deep into winter, right?
Gloomy.
And so, we're not getting as much sunshine. We're not getting as much outside time. We're not getting as much as, it's easy
Yes.
to be in a good mood and be like, I'm going to do this today and do that today and this today and these are the standards when it's sunshiny and it feels
Yes.
good outside. And it's like,
Sunshiny, a word?
yeah,
Sunshiny?
right. Sunshiny day, of
Oh,
course.
okay, sunshiny. Okay.
Dun, dun, dun,
Sunshiny.
dun, 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 dun,
Well, it's also
dun, dun.
You notice when you don't get enough protein.
Yeah.
You can be dragging.
That's
So-
the one that I've noticed. And
Yeah, we're used to getting a lot of protein, and there's times we don't.
And I
we
feel
notice a difference.
yeah, I'm like,
both of us.
my energy levels, I'm like, what's changed? I'm like, okay, the protein is what's changed. We need to
Yes.
get that back up.
Right,
And
and
again,
it's not the coffee because you stopped that. So
it's not coffee, and I feel just fine when I'm not on coffee. When
Yes.
I'm not, I call it on coffee. You know, when I'm not drinking coffee, because for me, I mean, I know some people they love their coffee. I've never been one to love
Mm-hmm.
coffee, and yet I started making myself enjoy it just for the sweet.
I would make the foam.
Sweet foam and loveliness of that, and then I would, take the rest. And making cold brew, it made it more manageable, easier.
Well,
put
that's
some,
the only way you had to have
yeah,
it anyway.
I cannot drink
So,
anything else. So, if it's a frou-frou drink, that's great. But then it's like, what am I doing this for? Is this to replace something else? Can I just cut it out
Just have some
completely
tea.
and just be fine? I could have just water, Or I do like zhuzhed up water, which is something yesterday I was thinking about. I want some more zhuzhed up water, Like,
Hey,
I love my
what's that?
regular water.
What's
but
zhuzh?
like, like some sparkling water that you add some
Oh,
fruit
yes.
to, maybe a little lemon, little lime, like make a little,
Okay.
zhuzh it up.
Okay. Zhuzh.
I'm ready to get that. But I love water, so I've got
Yeah.
no challenge drinking water. I can drink
All
plenty
right.
of water. But again, it's like you've got to know yourself, because then you can start playing with things like, okay, do I need this or do I need this? Like, is this something that
Yeah.
if I took it out, my world would crumble?
Like people that say they need dessert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you really?
No,
Or
you-
you just want that sugar
You
rush?
need it because that's what you're used
Yeah.
to having.
Yes, that's what your body is telling you.
And even the kid, we had the holidays, and it seemed like they were yesterday, but they've been a
Yeah.
few months now. But it's like, we have more treats, if you will, or more sweets, or more things,
And they
so
have to go.
it was coming up in their mind like, I want that now, I want this now.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's why we don't keep the stuff around the house.
Yes, so we bag
because
it up.
It's like a trigger, though. No, if you make the Christmas crack, and you make the Christmas cookies, and you make
Oh,
the Christmas,
yeah.
apple pie, and you
Let's
make
change the
all
subject.
these different
Ooh.
things, right? And so it's constantly there.
Yeah.
And so and it's not there, you wouldn't normally be thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then the kids, when it is there, that's all they think about. It's like, well, can we have this right now? I want this
Yes.
right now. It's like,
So you set limits for yourself
or
to make sure, even if they're there anyway, that you don't need to touch it. Just the fact.
just because it's there.
Right.
Right?
Just like me and Halloween candy.
Yeah. Just
So,
because it's there doesn't
yes.
mean you need it. I thought we
Correct.
got rid of it.
Well, it's in the to-go pile that's still around.
What we do is we let the kids go trick-or-treating. They do some trunk-or-treating. They go all around, and they get, what did they end up with today? Not today, this year.
20-something pounds?
They ended up...
22?
No,
23?
No, last year he said it was he wanted to beat his record from last year.
Right.
I don't know.
A pound
It was
off.
like a pound more this year
Yeah.
than last year. And I think it was like 12 or 13 pounds. It was a lot of freaking candy. Okay. And the kids don't eat a lot of candy. So
No.
we let them have their fun, pick a few for the next few, for a few
Yes.
days after Halloween. And then we package it up and we store it away. And then they can have a few pieces here and there. And then eventually what we do is we package it up completely and we donate it, right?
Yes.
We don't keep that stuff around. Well, the donation has made it to the garage. But apparently... I think, the donation's sitting there, it's ready to be donated, but come to find out, apparently there has
It's
been
been
nibblers
little mice.
eating, and it's not mice, little nibblers
Little Blackie Chan over here.
nibbling on the Halloween candy. The children sold
Well,
you
I've been
out.
giving them, I pick them up, and we have to wait sometimes for another kid because they're doing
Whatever.
something else. So I would give them a lollipop or something. So I wasn't giving them a lot of candy, but here's a lollipop for you, and they like it. And then I would have a few things too.
No, if they want a lollipop, we have much better lollipop options.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, your sister Sarah gives her the
Yeah,
good ones.
yeah, they give the good
Hi,
ones.
Sarah.
So we've
Yes.
got lollipops for that. But again,
Yeah,
it's like
good ones.
you've got to know, like, if something is over here, just because it's over here, it's out of sight, out
Yes,
of mind.
leave it alone.
Unless your mind now is constantly going to that. I know some people, if you have something in the house, you are going to eat it until it's completely gone, right? So then don't have those things in the house. Or what is it for you? And this is where we come back to like knowing yourself. What are the standards? What are the things that you hold
Yes.
yourself to?
Limits.
And what I like to do is I like to play with it. I like to adjust this, take out this, add in this, and not like every day. Give it a good, few weeks, maybe a month, and then see, okay, how am I feeling?
How about a margarita tonight?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. It doesn't really do anything for me.
Okay.
Yeah, no. We no.
All right.
Yeah.
Just checking.
I'm not really a drinker.
No,
No.
we have liquor here, but
We've had
it's
the
been
same liquor we've had for like 3 years.
Her family came. Her family came to visit, and it was the same liquor when we were in Colorado.
Yeah.
And we've been here almost 2 years. Well,
Yeah.
2 years.
No.
Next month.
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years.
Yeah.
Same liquor.
And we had
Still
it
there.
for a good year or so.
Before that.
At that, I'm like, no, we just don't drink it. And again,
No.
though, it's in the house.
But we don't
But
touch
I'm not
it.
thinking about it every day.
Me either.
Right?
Nope.
If it's in the house and you think about it every day, maybe that's something you shouldn't have in the house. So
Right.
you've got to know yourself,
Yourself.
right? Now, I know myself. If there was some, like chocolate, like mousse in the house, I
Yes.
can go for that.
Yes.
Right? That's why we don't have chocolate mousse in the house a lot. It's like, but and then I noticed, because I made that chocolate mousse pie.
Yes.
After a bite or two, I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yes.
Right?
Just like on sushi. When
Yeah.
we have our sushi time, we
Couple
have
months,
it.
I'm good.
We have it, and we're good.
I'm good.
Yeah,
So-
kids still chirp, 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 but we're good.
Where we are right now, it's not the easiest to get to.
No,
so
it's about
the-
an hour drive,
It's
hour and a
hour
half
plus.
drive.
So it's
to
like,
get
yeah,
there.
we'll get to there when we get to there, but we're
Yeah.
not going there right now. So
Nope.
we can kind of put that to the side. But
Yes.
again, the whole conversation that we're having here today is setting standards for yourself. Things that, and don't make them easy standards either, right? You don't want to live an easy life. You
No.
want to live a life where you know that you're
Higher
pushing.
standards.
You know that you are, these are the standards you set for yourself, and you want to push past those so that you are holding a higher standard for yourself. And by doing that, people around you are either going to come along for the journey or they're not.
not.
But there's going to be either
A divide.
a divide that keeps widening, or they're going to start coming up too, or they're going to, in the beginning, they're going to attempt to pull you back down. And so that's what you have to look at too. Is like, you have to know what the standards are for you, so that way, no matter what's going on, no matter what people are saying, or hey, have this drink, hey, come out and party, hey, let's eat this, hey, let's do that. And you're like, nope. These are my
That's
standards.
when the thick skin, thick,
And focus.
and strong and focus. Having your blinders on and repelling all the people that want you to go drinking or party or eating or baking, whatever you're going to have. You're going to have to set those standards of what you're going to have for yourself, and be proud of yourself that you said no to that. Be prouder of yourself when you say no again. And then it's going to be an automatic reflection. It's going to be an automatic
Now,
thing for yourself.
what we're not saying don't have any fun.
Oh,
We're
of
not
course not.
saying be a prude. We're not
Nope.
saying, just have a
Be
sucky
proud
life.
of it.
No, that's not what we're saying at all. There's times and places for everything, right? If
Yep.
you want to do those things, then do those. But if that becomes something that's a norm and something that you're relying on, something you're dependent on, and it's not serving you, then change it, right? If it's serving you, then keep doing it. And this is
Yes,
why it's
just
like
like
we're
the
not
weekends are dangerous for people.
right. Because
They
they
think,
can be.
right, you got rid of all the bad food, you're cooking well, you're taking care of yourself all week, and then on the weekend comes, you do the total flip, opposite. And then that's going to affect your body, it's going to affect your mind, your spirit, your attitude, all your energy. It's not going to be what it was during the week. So at least attempt to hold back a little bit so you don't drop off so hard.
And I think it all comes down to knowing the reason that you're doing the things that you're doing. If you're doing them, it comes back to the beginning of our conversation. If you're doing them because somebody else wants you to do them, you're not going to stick with it.
Nope.
If you're doing it because this is what the cool thing is in society right
gonna
now,
drop off.
and this is the trending
Yeah.
thing, you're not going to stick with it. If you're doing it because it's a 90-day challenge or a 30-day challenge or a whatever,
Yeah.
you're not going to stick with it, right? You have to do it because it's something that you decided for yourself that you want to do.
And ready for that change.
That you're ready for that change. And so when things come up, it's like, nope, I've decided I'm changed. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm at because these are what I said I was going to do because I'm looking at this over here. Or you know what? It's bikini season's coming up, or
Yes.
swim season's coming up, or what? And I want to look good, right? Or hey, I've got this that I'm working towards. I want that I'm working towards. I want to work on my mind. Or hey, I don't know what's going on right now, and I want to make sure that I'm becoming the best version of myself. Or like you've got to know why you're doing the things, and it has to be a big enough reason for you that no matter what comes up and what you can get derailed, get back on,
Yes.
right? And don't have a
Jump.
pity party, just get back on.
Yes. And don't be upset with yourself because you got derailed and then you're in a funk. Okay, now you know what happened. Course correct, jump into it and be proud of yourself that you're back on track.
And the main thing is, did you learn something from it? As long as you learn something from it, then
Yes.
hey, it was a lesson to be learned.
Right.
Did you learn the lesson?
Yep.
Or are you going to continue to repeat it because you didn't learn what you need to learn? And
Yep.
so I feel that everything that happens, it happens for a reason and it serves us.
And it makes you stronger.
And if you continue to repeat the same thing over and over again, and expect a different result, you haven't learned the lesson that's in there yet to
Yes.
learn. And so look at it as lessons, right? And the lessons are going to get harder and harder until you learn them. Once you've learned them, then you pass that lesson, right? Kind of like in school
Yeah.
or when you're learning something new, it's like you got to get, you got to get from start at 1 before you can get to 2, and 2 before you can get to 3. And so if you haven't learned what you need to learn in this first stage yet, or this first phase, you're not going to continue to move on. You're going to have to keep learning that over and over again. So look at that, look at your life, look at how these things are coming up, and what are, the standards that you're holding for yourself. When you look around, it's like, okay, am I continuing to do this over here?
Yes.
Am I different than I was last year at this time?
Am I any better with yourself?
Where do I want to go? And what are the standards that I'm going to hold for myself to make sure that I'm going to get there? And then check in with yourself on a
Yes.
regular basis to see how you're doing.
And have those goals written down so you can remember what weight you want to get to, how you felt, what you're eating. Are you healthy? At least have a standard of what you have instead of keeping it in here. So for the next year, hey, this is where I was, this is where I wanted to go, that I had a goal for myself.
And that we had an episode, I think it was the last episode, we talked about a lot about, manifestation, but also putting together your vision board and where
Yes.
so you can see it too. It's like, these are the standards I hold for myself. So what does that look
Yes.
like? Who are you becoming? And so when you can immerse yourself in knowing the reasons that you're doing the things that you're doing, the reasons that you have the standards for yourself that you have, what is the end result that you're looking for, who are you, and where do you want to go, and what do you want to do, and how do you need to get there by holding these standards that you hold for yourself, you're going to find that the gap starts, it's not widening anymore. You're getting closer and closer every day because you're more of that person every day. You're
Yes.
pushing yourself. You've learned the lessons. You keep growing, you keep changing, keep expanding. And your vision should continue to grow with that too, but so should your standards.
Keep a copy of those standards where they were. Just like you change your vision board, make a copy of the vision board that changes so you can have a progression of where it went to.
And also your standards. What are your standards today? And your standards should continue to grow and rise as well.
They're going to change
because
a
you
lot.
grow, you change. And so your standards should
You
be
never
growing
want them the
with
same.
you. If you, like for someone who's, working on running a marathon, right? Are they going to say, well, I did the best, that's all I'm going to do? It's like, no, next time they're going to push a little further. They're going to want to
They
best
are.
their time, right?
They are.
They're
They're
going to want
gonna
to
be-
work on that. And so that standard, as you get better, your standards get better. As you grow, your standards
Yes.
grow. And so those should be, you're always
Yeah.
wanting to make sure that you're the best version of yourself and that you're pushing yourself just a little bit more.
Never be
a little bit
happy
more.
with that.
Right.
With the same old, same old. Don't
Keep
do
going
it.
a little bit
Yes.
further, a little bit more.
Yeah, keep going.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us in this conversation. And like we
Yes,
talked about
thank you.
at the top of the show, how can you apply this to your life? How can you continue this conversation? How can you expand upon this? This is not the end. This is just the beginning of the
Yes,
conversation for
and
you.
reach out to us, send questions, and
Yeah.
we'll get back to
We
you.
love hearing from you guys, and we love hearing about your challenges, but also your triumphs and your
Yes.
struggles and your successes. We love that. That's what we're here for. That's what the Can Do community is all about.
We are.
And we appreciate you joining us today for this conversation. Remember, we can do it.
And so can you.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Take care.